Welcome back, friends. Just few basics of the anatomy and physiology before we go for the details. These are few basic words which you need to know. When we see the body in a grosser aspects from the eyes, it is wholly visible, but it is made up of subcomponents, substructures, and all those structures they starts with small chemical unit. Chemical levels, at the levels of chemical we can say atoms and molecules. Different atoms and molecules together will have a form of bonding, chemical bonding together to form a particular structure at the level of chemical level. And the cell is the smallest unit of living organism. Cell has its components of a nucleus and other components called as organelles, which are within the cells. There are specialized bodies which perform a specific cellular function. Some organelles do the packing of cellular content, some organelles will do the production, some organelles will send the signals in and out of the cells, some organelles work at the level of the membrane, cell membrane. Like this, inside the cell there are different organelles which have its specific functions pertaining to that particular cell. So tissue. A tissue is a group of similar cells performing a common function. When any tissue, I call it as, if I take it as a heart as a tissue, it has a similar cells, all the four chambers, 1, 2, 3, 4. It has a similar group of cells performing a common function. Common function is pumping. So this heart has a cardiac tissue. An organ a tissue, a group of similar cells performing a common function. You can call it as muscle tissue or nerve tissue. And then organ, a group of different kinds of tissues performing and working together to perform a particular activities. So if I give you an example of the heart, heart has four chambers, 1, 2, 3, 4. The heart contains cardiac muscles, nerves, blood, and other components. So it has a different kinds of tissues and they're all working together to perform a common function. So this can be called as an organ. The muscle of the heart can be called as a tissue. So next is the organ system. Two or more organs working together to accomplish a particular common task can be called as an organ system. For example, digestive system has its mouth cavity, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, liver, and supportive pancreatic juices to perform a common function of digestion and excretion. So that is called as an organ system. I already mentioned which are all the different organ systems. So one more important word is the homeostasis. In our body wants to be in all equilibrium all the time. It wants to be balanced. Just like the definition of yoga. Yoga is stiram sukham asanam and equilibrium is yoga. Similarly, the maintenance of the stable internal conditions within a specific limit, that is a characteristic of each and every cell. Inside the human body, each cell has its own limits of functioning and it will maintain as equanimous or equilibrium status all the time. That characteristic is called as homeostasis. For example, the temperature of your body is around 37.5 degrees Celsius all the time. Body has to maintain this particular temperature all the time. When you are doing more exercise, imagine you are doing more exercise, the body temperature increases. When the body temperature increases, it sends signals to the brain. Brain will send signals to the skin and sweat glands to increase the sweat production, so that there is a perspiration or a sweating. Because of the sweating, the body temperature comes back to 37.5 degrees Celsius. So it's an example how the temperature is maintained in the body. So similarly, when you are choosing asanas, if you are doing a fast Surya Namaskara, if you are doing an aerobic form of yoga practices, or if you are doing cardiorespiratory form of practices, you need to know what is happening with the body function. Is the person is in balance, or is he or she is strained? So you as a yoga teacher might be good in any asanas, but the client in front of you might not be. So for you to have a good understanding of the body, you will be able to diagnose and detect is the person is having any strain in particular muscles, or any particular posture is he or she is having strain. Then they can restrain them, not allow them to do that particular practice unless they are able to do it a regular practice under your guidance, and then learn it effectively to master it. So for this particular understanding, of a deeper understanding, you need all these basic wordings, basic structure, basic understanding of anatomy and physiology. Hope I made bit clear why we need to undergo this particular course under the institution.